This episode of the Golf Gambling Podcast from the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Play their fantasy pick'em for a chance to win 100x in NBA, MLB, MMA, NHL, and golf. Sign up today at UnderdogFantasy.com using promo code GOLFSGPN to get a 100% deposit match. Also, if you're a baseball fan, definitely tune in to the MLB Gambling Podcast. They are over on our YouTube feed. Just type in MLB Gambling Podcast. Looking for some afternoon action, just a sports degenerate. Either way, go check out the MLB Gambling Podcast. They got a ton of great content over there. All right, it's time to dive into the fifth major, the Myrtle Beach Classic alternate event on the PGA Tour this week. We have four guys over 10K like we do at Wells Fargo, so it's basically the same thing. Two Carolina events this week, probably the first time that's ever happened on tour, where we have definitely the first time we have two Carolina events in the same week. So let's get into it. We'll bring up the DFS board. We'll get right into the pricing, and I'll give you out the chalk, the best plays, talk about some bets, and just do the whole thing. Let's not waste any more time. Here is the Myrtle Beach Classic DFS board. EVR starts us off, at 10-9. Ben Griffin 10-7. Boog Knight 10-5, and Davey T at 10-1. In this range, who's going to be the chalk? Who are people going to go to? I think the lowest owned guy up here will be Davis Thompson at 10-1, followed by Ben Griffin. And then I think it'll be Berger, and I think EVR will be the most chalky guy. Although Berger's a name people know, EVR is a name that people know. People know EVR, and he's objectively just been better than Berger the last 2 years. Obviously, Berger's had a lot dealing with some things, injuries, but for the first time since he's returned, Daniel Berger has gained strokes in every single category. Daniel Berger gained strokes across the board in his T13 at the Byron Nelson last week. Definitely a great sign. And I don't think, maybe you don't overthink it. Just recently, we saw Billy Horschel win at the Corrales, a former Ryder Cupper who was not playing the best, but is definitely a bigger name than everyone else in the field. And he won the Corrales. Can Daniel Berger be the same at a, I guess, fairly similar betting number, similar price in the DFS board? Sure. I think I like Ben Griffin the most. Ben Griffin at 10-7. He also gained strokes across the board, and he's gained on approach in 5 straight starts. He's a very streaky iron player, and when Ben Griffin's hitting his irons well, we know he can play. Although he does his best work on shorter courses than we have now, but we are on Bermuda. Ben Griffin is like that Russell Henley guy, that short Bermuda course killer. Not that this is the shortest course, but it's definitely more of a resort style course and a Bermuda grass course. So I'm definitely down for some Ben Griffin at 10-7. And then I think in Berger and Griffin would be my guys in this range, just because I think EVR is going to be the chalkiest one. And then Davis Thompson, I think he's just overpriced. Thoughts on Justin Lauer? Can confirm the Waterloo hole is up there with number 12 at Augusta. That is hilarious. That everyone knows. Everyone knows these iconic golf holes. 17 at Sawgrass, 12 at Augusta. The Waterloo hole at Myrtle Beach at the Dunes. What's it called? The Dunes? I forget what this golf course is called, but everyone knows the Waterloo hole is just unreal. So I guess Justin Lauer's in the 9K range, so we're going to do the 9K range right now. We'll get there. 9K range. Bo Hostler, 9.8, down to Matty Schmid at 9K. I feel like there's no reason why Bo's not in this 10K range and Davis Thompson is. That's all I'll say about that. Although Bo's not been great, he hasn't really been hitting his irons well. The driver is hit or miss. I think you got to hit your irons well here. But Bo does have the putter to heat up. I love the guy priced right underneath him. Ryo Hisatsune and Andrew Novak are 2 plays that I probably might bet this week. Ryo Hisatsune, I played him in DFS last week. He was a key staple in all my lineups last week. Finished T13 and gained strokes across the board for the first time in his PGA Tour career. So shows that Rio's game is rounding into form. This is definitely a perfect golf course for Rio. The last time he won was at Le Golf National in France. I believe it was at Le Golf National. Now I have to fact check myself because I can't just go on and say things that aren't true. It was at Le Golf National. Sorry. So Rio won at Le Golf National, a course that kind of has similar qualities to this that we're seeing in Myrtle Beach. At least what I've been reading and looking at the course specs and looking at flyovers and stuff like that. Water, a lot of water, and positional style greens, but you have to be and you have to be good with your irons. So I like that for elevated greens. I meant to say not positional, elevated greens, and be good with your irons with a lot of water. Rio, that's where Rio won, and he's coming into great form. $9,700. I think he can win this event. I think he's a great play. Probably will be betting him. Probably will be playing him in DFS. Now Andrew Novak, a guy who's been trending all season long, multiple top tens. He's got the true home game. I'm going to get to all the narratives, but he's got the true home game. He went to high school at the Academic Magnet High School, I believe it was called, just north of Charleston, giving him the closest connection to Myrtle Beach. There's a ton of South Carolina guys, but he grew up, went to high school very similar to this area, played his college golf at Wofford, which is in Spartanburg, South Carolina. Ton of South Carolina connection for Andrew Novak, and he's playing great golf. He's been a chalky guy all season, but hopefully, he kind of goes under the radar. I think he's going to be a better bet than DFS play because I can see him eating up some chalk in this range. But people might want to go to Matt Wallace at 9,500, who just finished fourth at the Byron, and he plays well on easy courses. KH Lee, no real feelings on. I think you could just rather go up or maybe go down to Justin Lauer, like we said in the comments. Justin Lauer has sneakily been playing really, really good golf. He's gained on approach and now 4 or 5 straight. I forget which one it was. Either way, 4 or 5 straight. He's been playing really good. He finished T4 at the Corrales, another alternate event, was in the mix in Mexico, another like kind of alternate event. And he plays well on these easier golf courses. T24 last week, T28 Zurich, T25 in Valero, courses that make sense. I'm definitely down for Lauer. I'm kind of feeling the vibe that he might be out of this 9K range, the bottom of this 9K range. KH Lee, Justin Lauer, Kevin Yu, Matty Schmid. He might be the guy that people go to, but I don't think it'll be out of hand where you shouldn't play him. I think it'll be at 12%. Fine. Play Justin Lauer. Kevin Yu, ball striker's delight, but recently has been trending in the wrong direction. Definitely an easier golf course that he could take advantage of, but the game's not really there yet. Matty Schmid, he had that great run in March, and then recently he's kind of fallen off of a cliff. I don't really love that, but he definitely wants to win to get to Louisville because he went to college at Louisville. He definitely wants to be in that PGA Championship. So some motivation for Matty Schmid. I think he'll play well. So 9K range, I would say my favorite 2 plays by far are Ryo Hisatsune, followed by Andrew Novak. 8K range, we got Alex Smalley 8-9 down to Max Grazerman at 8 flat. I think Alex Smalley is a great play this week. 2 of his last 3 starts have been T13 or better. He grew up in Greensboro, North Carolina. He played his college golf at Duke. He played really well at Sedgefield, which I think is a great comp. Alex Smalley was on the verge of losing his PGA Tour card, and he's finished T6 and T13 in his last 2 starts. T6 was at the T6 was at the alternate event Corrales. We got another alternate event. Now we're in his home state. Not his home state. We're in the South Carolina. He's from North Carolina. Vibes. And a golf course that definitely suits his game. He is a killer on Bermuda grass. That's where he does his best work. Bermuda grass and a golf course where you got to hit your irons well. Smalley is definitely a great iron player. Victor Perez, 8-9. I like him, honestly, just as much as Alex Smalley. This man, Victor Perez, has gained strokes on approach in every single PGA Tour event he's played this season and 11 straight events dating back to his European Tour starts. Exceptional run of ball striking from Victor Perez, and that will definitely play here. He played well at Cognizant, which if you guys remember, we were on Victor Perez at the Cognizant Classic. He was in the mix too. And this course kind of rivals like PGA National. Water, similar distance, Bermuda. I'm down for some Victor Perez. Going down the rest of this 8K range, no one really catches my eye. I talked about Taiga Semikawa on the podcast last week. I bet him first round leader, and he 3-putt on 18 to miss the first round leader. Would have been my favorite. Would have been like the best hit I've ever had. Taiga Semikawa first round leader last week. Sadly, that didn't happen. But now he's in the 8K range. He's definitely getting that massive jump. But he is a great talent. He's a young Japanese stud who can definitely make some noise. A little bit overpriced for me. I think I'm going to pass. But if you go right below him, Jacob Bridgman, $8,200. He's made 2 out of his last three cuts. He is also a South Carolina guy. Grew up in South Carolina, went to college at Clemson, and he's shown good things. Like we see every single year, like a young guy come up and win quickly. Like think of like Morikawa winning in an alternate event, like Matt Wolff winning. These young studs, they come out and they win. This is a perfect spot for Jacob Bridgman to come out and break through in. So I definitely like some Bridgman at $8,200. Underneath him, Thorbjorn Olsen at $8,100. Missed the cut at the CJ Cup, but he's a grinder who will make cuts. If you play Thorbjorn blindly, he will simply just make cuts, and then from there, you're off to the races. You want to make the cut, and at $8,100, I think he's a safe play to make the cut. So that rounds out the 7K range. I mean, 8K range. I do not love it as much as the upper ranges, but I like Alex Smalley, Victor Perez, Jacob Bridgman, and Thorbjorn in the 8K range. In the 7K range, we have Chris Gotterup down to Harry Hall, Kevin Doherty, Lance Griffin, Ryan Moore. This is a massive range, this 7K range. So we'll break through it little by little. Chris Gotterup, leads us off. Don't think this is the best course for him. I think the next best target is probably Ben Martin. Ben Martin at $7,600. Remember a few weeks ago at the Corrales, he was infinite. He was like 40% owned and most tipped into oblivion at 35-1. It was insane. I told you guys not to do it. He finished T55, was a horrible play. Now he's like $2,000 cheaper at a very similar style golf course. And this man went to school at Clemson. He's been playing really good golf, like in terms of strokes gained approach. I think he's a great play at $7,600. $7,500, Robert McIntyre. Missed the cut at the Byron. That was a horrible course fit for him. You want a bit more of a difficult test for Bob, and we're getting more of a difficult test this week than at least compared to last week. I'd honestly prefer Bob Mack at Quail Hollow than I would here, but this is a golf course where I think he can make the cut, and he has definitely a high ceiling. 75 is a fine price for Bob Mack. Jorge Campillo, playing really decent golf right now, $7,400, and he's coming off of the best strokes gained approach week of his PGA Tour career. So Jorge, a cut maker, and a guy who is playing from the European Tour. He's simply here to play good golf. He's simply here for work. He's not doing things off to the side. He's focused on his golf game. That's what I want. Like he's here teeing it up in Myrtle Beach to win. I love Jorge Campillo at $7,400. Alexander Bjork, a strokes gained approach king, a strokes gained approach slut, but he's been so bad of late, like really bad. This is a longer golf course than I like Alexander Bjork, so I'm going to have to pass. If anything, I'd prefer Chandler Phillips at the exact same price. Although the last few weeks, he hasn't been hitting his irons well, and Chandler Phillips has shown to hit his irons well. But the last time this man played a par 71 on Bermuda grass, he was in the mix at the Valspar. If you need a dot to connect that dot. Down here, this $7,100 range, Kelly Craft is going to be the most tipped player. Maybe not tipped. Kelly Craft will be the most chalky player probably in the 7K range. I think he's a horrible play. He models out really well because he's only started like 5 times the entire year. He's not a full member of the PGA Tour. I will say he has made the most of those PGA Tour starts. But you know who made the most of all his PGA Tour starts and then got really chalky and then played horrible? Peter Quest. Peter Quest made the most of all of his random starts, and then now everyone's realizing it. They jump on him, and he plays horrific. I'm feeling the same vibe from Kelly Craft. Not that I was saying I was on him last week. Great call if you were on him. Hindsight, he's an SMU Mustang. We should have been on him. My fault for not bringing that up. So Kelly Craft, he's garnering some love this week. No. It's very similar to Quest. He made the most out of his starts when no one was realizing it. Now everyone's realizing it. Too little, too late. Especially this price. You don't want to bet Kelly Craft or play Kelly Craft. I don't mind Parker Cootie at 71. Golfer who came onto the scenes bursting with ball striking success and then kind of dipped back in the wrong direction. But like I said with Jacob Bridgman, two golfers who have shown great signs in their early PGA Tour career, just like Colin Morikawa, like they can break out at an alternate event. Like I'm down. I'm definitely down for these young studs who we don't know too much about, but we know a little bit. You want to get ahead of these things. You don't want to be like, you don't want to see a Jacob Bridgman win and like try to bet him in 2 weeks. Like, golf is never perfect. Like, no stats are going to, if golf betting stats were perfect, Xander Schauffele would win every single week. Nothing is going to be perfect. So you got to take chances and do things that you might not be comfortable with. So take a chance, dude. Take a chance. Briefly, we'll touch on the 6K range, but I thought I did a decent job going through my best plays from the 10K range down to the 7K range. I do have a show dedicated to the 6K range, so I won't go dive deep into this entire 6K range. I'll kind of just name some names, see if they could pop. Timeout? What's good with Justin Suh? $6,900 and has been playing so bad. Like, this is a golfer that I'm really high on. I really am, truthfully am. But he's missed now 4 straight cuts. Hasn't finished inside the top 30 since Mexico. No, worldwide, the other event in Mexico, the Worldwide Technology. That was in November. No top 30s. No, he finished top 22. Finished 22 at Phoenix. That was his only T30 of 2024. Justin Suh has been not great. Has been not great this season. Okay, let's go down to the 6K range a little bit more. Anyone that catches my eye. Joey Bucket Hats, Joey Highsmith. He's done good work in easy conditions. He's gained on approach in 3 straight starts. What else do you want? What else do you want in the 6K range? Not much. Wesley Bryan is $6,600. He's going to be really chalky. Although he kind of makes sense. He kind of makes sense. He played his college golf at South Carolina. His only win was in the state of South Carolina. But at the end of the day, like, he's gaining a lot of you don't want Wesley Bryan when people are talking about him. When like people, I feel like the pressure is like gearing up for Wesley. He's gonna have like interviews this week. His brother's playing this event. Like, there's a lot of buzz around Wesley Bryan. I could definitely see him missing this cut by a lot, truthfully. And I learned my lesson not to shit on Wesley Bryan, because one time I tweeted about Wesley Bryan and his entire contingency of fans absolutely lit me up, truthfully. So Wesley Bryan, go play golf. I don't think he will play good golf this week. So yeah, I feel like that wraps it up. 10K down to 7K. I went through the plays. If you need to hear anything back, rewind it. And yeah, a few more shows today. We have Capper and Steve are coming on tonight to talk about their best bets for each event, and I will have the 6K videos for both tournaments, the bets for each tournaments, and the final thoughts tomorrow afternoon for both. So yeah, tune in. Any questions, you guys know where to find me, and I will catch you guys sooner than later. Peace out.